How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. Okay, so today's video is actually it's going to be pretty interesting because this video will cover probably the original pack-in title for the NES. It also covers one of two titles released that were operable with the Robot Operating Buddy, or the ROB. And it features probably, if you didn't have a ROB, probably one of the first completely co-op games on the NES. This game is from, I want to say, well, the date on it says 1985, but it may be a little bit earlier than that. I'm not sure. But the date on the title screen says 1985. And it also is interesting to note that some of the cartridges for this title, if you look inside of them, they may contain a interesting little surprise. The game I'm referring to today is Gyromite. Now, Gyromite, or Robot Gyro if you're playing the Famicom version, features a little guy named Professor Hector. And Professor Hector is walking around these buildings. His objective, the objective he's charged with, is to grab these bombs and defuse them before the time runs out. There are these little creatures called Smicks that are running around. They're little bird-looking things. They actually, to me, look like precursors to Bowser the Koopa Troopa King. But, you know. And you defuse these bombs, and there are blue and orange pedestals that are in your way. That's where the ROB comes in. Because the ROB, if you have one connected to your NES and it's working, will use the second controller to move those pedestals and get them out of the way. Well, a lot of gamers, including myself, weren't lucky enough to have a ROB, though I have played Gyromite with the ROB. And so what our alternative is to either hold both controllers, one on top of the other, or have a second player control the second controller and move the pedestals for you. Now, Game B, what's interesting about Game B, because there's a Game A, which is where you defuse the bombs, and Game B, which I'm about to discuss. Game B, you actually only control the pedestals. And so, ROB, you're walking, you have control of the pedestals that ROB, would typically control. And Professor Hector is sleepwalking. So the point of Game B is to keep him from getting crushed, or make sure that he makes it to the other side of this platform safely. Now, ROB is an incredibly difficult peripheral to find in working conditions. So in most cases, you'll probably be playing it with two controllers. And another interesting thing of note with Gyromite is some of the Gyromite cartridges, the boards inside of them are actually Robot Gyro boards from the Japanese game, the Famicom game. And since the Famicom has a 62-pin connector in its system, the NES has a 72-pin connector. That was the way they kept you from buying import games. Some of these Gyromite cartridges have converters in them. So there have been a lot of instances where gamers have bought Gyromite cartridges with the full intention of opening them up, taking the converter out, and using that to start their import collection, which is actually pretty smart. Gyromite honestly isn't a very rare game. However, Stack Up, the other Robot Series game, is incredibly rare, and copies of that start at about $40, and that's just for the cartridge. If you find one with all of the accessories that you need for Rob to work with it, you could pay upwards around $100 for it. This has been the 8-Bit Animal. I will catch you beautiful people tomorrow.